All right, let's talk about something that affects a ton of men, especially over 50. Getting up what feels like a dozen times a night to go to the bathroom, it's not just annoying, it's exhausting. And a lot of the time, it's because of an enlarged prostate. But what if the solution isn't in a pill bottle, but in your fridge? Today, that's exactly what we're digging into. Get this, by the time men hit their 50s, more than half, over 50%, will have an enlarged prostate. So if this is you, you are definitely not alone. This isn't some rare thing, it's incredibly common, which is exactly why we need to talk about what's really going on. I mean, does this sound familiar? Waking up 2, 3, maybe even 4 times a night? It completely wrecks your sleep, right? It's draining. Well, if you're nodding along right now, you are in the right place. So let's start by getting a clear picture of what's physically happening inside your body and why it causes so much trouble. We're calling this section the nightly nuisance. Okay, here's a really simple way to visualize this. A healthy prostate is supposed to be about the size of a walnut, but when it gets enlarged, it can swell up to the size of an orange. Now just picture an orange pressing down on your bladder. It's easy to see why there's no room left and why you feel that constant, urgent need to go. And look, this isn't just about feeling a little tired. That constant sleep disruption creates this massive ripple effect through your whole life. You're exhausted during the day, your stress levels shoot up, you get moody, and it's even harder to think clearly. It starts as one problem, but quickly affects everything. Okay, so we know what it is, but the big question is why? Why is this happening in the first place? Well, the answer is probably not what you think. It's time to look beyond the obvious.
So, here's the big puzzle. We all know that as men get older, their testosterone levels naturally go down. So, why would the prostate, a male gland, get bigger? It doesn't make any sense, right? It seems totally backward. Well, the secret isn't actually about testosterone itself.
Turns out the real culprit isn't testosterone, but what it can turn into. There's this enzyme in the body that converts testosterone into a much, much more powerful hormone called DHT. You can think of DHT as like a supercharged version of testosterone. So even while your regular T levels are dropping, this super potent form can kick into overdrive in the prostate, telling it to grow, grow, grow. But wait, DHT is only part of the story. For most men, the main driver, the real heavyweight champion behind this problem, is actually insulin resistance. See, when you eat a lot of carbs and sugar, or you're eating all the time, your insulin levels are constantly high. And you have to remember, insulin is a growth hormone. It literally tells cells in your body to grow, and that includes the cells in your prostate. Okay, so now that we've unmasked the two main culprits, this super testosterone called DHT and high insulin, we can finally talk about solutions. And it starts with what you put in your shopping cart. Let's build your grocery list for relief. And the best part is, this isn't about deprivation. This is about empowerment. It's about adding the right things to your diet to take back control. These are the foods that help you fight back. So, first up, let's talk about foods that go after the hormones. Pumpkin seeds and green tea are fantastic because they both contain compounds that help block that enzyme that creates DHT in the first place. And then, of course, you've got tomatoes, especially concentrated tomato paste, which are loaded with lycopene, an amazing antioxidant for your prostate. Next, we need to deal with inflammation and improve blood flow. Wild-caught salmon is packed with omega-3s, which are incredible anti-inflammatories. Then, to get things flowing better, and I mean urine flow, you want to boost something called nitric oxide. Foods like arugula, beets, watermelon, and even a little bit of low-sugar dark chocolate can help with that. It helps relax everything down there, making it easier to go. Now, for every food that helps, there are foods that hurt, and knowing what to avoid is honestly just as important. So let's flip the script and look at the prostate's worst enemies. The common theme with all the foods you're about to see is pretty simple. They all do one of two things. They either spike your insulin through the roof, or they cause a ton of inflammation. Or, in many cases, they do both. They're basically pouring gasoline on the fire we're trying to put out. So the mission here is to cut way back on anything that spikes your insulin. We're talking sweets, starches like bread and pasta, and sugary drinks. You also want to ditch inflammatory seed oils and fried foods. But this last one is huge. It's not just what you eat, it's when. Constantly snacking, especially late at night, keeps your insulin working overtime, and that is just deadly for the prostate.
All right, so beyond what's on your plate, there are a few supplements that can give you some powerful, targeted support to really round out this whole strategy. Okay, we've got a really powerful trio here. Vitamin D3 is absolutely crucial for keeping prostate growth in check. It works hand in hand with magnesium glycinate, which also helps relax muscles for better sleep. And finally, you have natural DHT blockers like saw palmetto or stinging nettle root. Now, a quick word of caution, those dosages, especially for vitamin D, are quite high, so you absolutely must talk to your doctor before starting a new regimen like this.
You know, if there's one single idea to really take to heart, it's this quote right here. It just nails it. It's not just about swapping one food for another. It's about changing the pattern. That bit about late-night snacking being deadly for the prostate, that's probably the most powerful takeaway here. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. The power to get a good night's sleep and to improve your prostate health is, for the most part, right there on your plate. The roadmap is clear. We got to lower insulin, we got to fight inflammation, and we got to give our body the right tools. The real question is, are you ready to take control?